There are new reports circulating online suggesting that Todd Tucker may have been taken into custody again following a recent incident involving Porsha Williams. Now, at this stage, nothing has been officially confirmed by law enforcement or representatives from either side. But multiple sources close to the situation are claiming that what happened during their recent interaction escalated far more seriously than what was initially understood. According to these early reports, the situation began as a private exchange but quickly turned tense, leading to questions about whether legal action was taken afterward. However, what makes this story even more complicated is the fact that different accounts are now emerging, and they don't fully match what has been shared publicly so far. At the moment, there are more questions than answers, and people are trying to understand what actually triggered this latest wave of controversy, and whether this is truly a legal issue, or just another misunderstanding being amplified online. Either way, this situation is now getting a lot of attention, and new details are expected to come out very soon. To understand why this situation involving Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams is making headlines again, you have to go back and look at the history between the people connected to it. Over the years, both Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams have been part of the same entertainment circles, where professional interactions often overlap with personal tensions. While nothing about their relationship has ever been officially described as openly hostile, insiders have long suggested that there have been underlying moments of disagreement and miscommunication that never fully made it into the public eye. Todd Tucker, known for maintaining a relatively controlled and private public image, has mostly stayed away from unnecessary drama. People close to him often describe him as someone who prefers handling conflict quietly rather than engaging in public disputes. However, behind that calm exterior, there have been ongoing pressures related to personal relationships, professional responsibilities, and past controversies that occasionally surface in public discussions. On the other side, Porsha Williams has built a strong public presence in the entertainment industry, often finding herself at the center of media attention due to both her personal life and public appearances. Over time, she has also been linked to multiple rumored disputes and misunderstandings within her broader social circle, although many of these situations have never been officially confirmed or legally addressed. What makes this situation more complex is the way both individuals exist in overlapping social and professional networks. In environments like this, even small misunderstandings can grow over time, especially when communication breaks down or when third-party influences begin to shape perceptions. According to people familiar with the general situation, there have been moments in the past where conversations between the involved parties were left unresolved. Instead of direct clarity, things were often left unspoken, which gradually created distance and tension. And in many cases like this, it is not one single event that causes a major fallout. It is a buildup of smaller moments that never get properly addressed. That is why, when reports of a recent confrontation began circulating online, many people were not completely surprised. To those who have followed the situation closely, it felt less like a sudden incident and more like something that had been quietly developing over time. Still, no one expected it to reach the level of attention it has now gained, especially with new claims of legal involvement and an alleged arrest circulating across social media. The situation surrounding Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams reportedly took a serious turn during what was supposed to be a private and controlled meeting between individuals connected to both sides. According to early insider accounts, the meeting did not begin with confrontation. In fact, sources described the atmosphere as initially calm, almost formal, with no clear signs that anything was about to escalate. However, that calm environment did not last long. Witnesses claimed that the tone shifted the moment sensitive topics were brought up regarding prior misunderstandings and unresolved tensions. What started as a basic exchange of words quickly became more intense as both sides began addressing issues that had reportedly been left unresolved for some time. At the center of the discussion, Todd Tucker allegedly raised concerns about inconsistencies in communication and behavior patterns that had caused confusion in recent weeks. His tone, according to people familiar with the situation, remained controlled at first, but it gradually became more firm as the conversation continued. Porsha Williams, on the other hand, reportedly responded in a calm but distant manner. Instead of engaging emotionally, she maintained a composed approach, which some observers say may have unintentionally increased the tension in the room. In high-pressure situations like this, emotional contrast often escalates misunderstandings rather than resolving them. As the conversation progressed, the topic reportedly shifted toward external influences and third-party involvement in the situation. This is where things began to take a more complicated turn. Mentions of other individuals connected to the broader circle started appearing in the discussion, raising new questions about who had been influencing communication behind the scenes. It was at this point that the situation reportedly shifted from a private discussion into a heated exchange. Voices were raised, interruptions became more frequent, and the structure of the conversation broke down. People present described it as a moment where control was lost on both sides, not just one. However, the most unexpected development came shortly after this escalation. According to multiple unverified reports circulating online, a sudden interruption changed the direction of the entire interaction. Allegedly, information was presented during the meeting that neither side was fully prepared for. This information reportedly included references to prior conversations and actions that had not been publicly disclosed. The moment this information surfaced, the atmosphere in the room reportedly changed immediately. What was previously an emotional disagreement turned into confusion and disbelief. Sources suggest that both parties reacted differently, with one side attempting to clarify the claims, while the other appeared increasingly frustrated by the lack of clear answers. This is where the first major twist in the situation emerges. Because shortly after this escalation, claims began circulating that what had just taken place was not an isolated emotional confrontation, but something that may have been influenced by external planning or pre-existing tension that had not been fully visible before that moment. Some insiders now suggest that certain parts of the conversation may have been anticipated in advance, meaning the reactions seen during the meeting were not entirely spontaneous. While there is no official confirmation of this, the idea has already begun spreading rapidly across social media platforms. Adding to the confusion, it is also being reported that shortly after the meeting ended, different versions of what happened began circulating among individuals connected to both parties. These versions did not fully match, which only increased public curiosity and speculation. Some accounts describe a simple heated disagreement that got out of control. Others describe a more structured and layered situation where key information may have been deliberately introduced at specific moments to provoke reactions. This contradiction between narratives has now become the core of the controversy. And just when it seemed like the situation might settle down and fade into routine celebrity drama, another unexpected detail surfaced online, suggesting that this was only the beginning of a much larger chain of events that had not yet fully unfolded. At this point, what actually happened inside that meeting is still unclear. But what is certain is that the incident did not end when the conversation stopped. In many ways, it only became more complicated after people started talking about it. In the hours following the initial incident involving Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams, the situation did not calm down as many expected. Instead, it began spreading rapidly across social media, with new claims, interpretations, and supposed insider details emerging almost every few minutes. What started as a private disagreement was now turning into a full-scale online controversy. Different entertainment pages began reporting completely different versions of the same event. Some claimed it was a simple heated argument that got out of control, while others suggested there was something more structured behind the scenes that had not yet been fully exposed. The situation escalated further when screenshots and alleged message leaks began circulating online. Although none of these materials were verified, they were enough to fuel intense debate among fans and viewers. In some of these posts, there were suggestions that prior communication between the involved parties had already been tense before the meeting even took place. At the same time, speculation around third-party involvement started growing stronger. Names connected to the broader circle were once again mentioned, with users trying to connect small details from past interactions to the current situation. This only added more confusion, as nothing could be clearly confirmed or denied. As the online discussion intensified, a new claim surfaced that changed the direction of the narrative again. According to unverified sources, parts of the interaction may have been recorded or documented in a way that was not initially disclosed. This claim, although not supported by official evidence, quickly gained traction and shifted public attention toward the possibility that the situation was more complicated than a simple argument. What made this even more shocking was the suggestion that certain reactions during the confrontation may not have been entirely spontaneous. Some online commentators began pointing out moments in the timeline that they believed appeared too structured or too coincidental to be random. While this remains purely speculative, it added another layer of mystery to an already unclear situation. As expected, the lack of official statements only fueled more theories. Fans began dividing into different camps, each defending their own interpretation of what happened. One group believed the situation had been blown out of proportion by social media, while another insisted that something deeper was being hidden from the public. And just when it seemed like the narrative could not become any more complicated, another unexpected development began circulating, suggesting that this incident might be connected to previous unresolved tensions that had never been fully addressed, potentially changing the entire understanding of the story once again. As the situation involving Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams continued to spread online, the public reaction became immediate, intense, and deeply divided. Social media platforms turned into the main battleground for opinions, with users dissecting every alleged detail of the incident and trying to piece together what actually happened. Within hours, hashtags related to the situation began trending, with users expressing shock, confusion, and strong emotional reactions. Some viewers believed the claims of a serious escalation and possible legal consequences, while others argued that the entire situation was being exaggerated and misinterpreted by online commentary pages. One group of users strongly defended Todd Tucker, suggesting that he may have been unfairly portrayed in the circulating narratives. They argued that without official confirmation, the idea of any arrest or legal action remains unverified speculation. According to this perspective, the situation was being amplified purely for entertainment value and engagement online. On the other side, critics of the situation pointed toward the growing number of insider reports and inconsistencies in the various accounts being shared. They suggested that where there is this much confusion and contradiction, there is often a deeper story that has not yet been fully revealed. This group was quick to question the dynamics between all individuals involved, including the broader social circle connected to both parties. Meanwhile, entertainment blogs and commentary channels played a major role in escalating the discussion further. Many of these platforms published reaction-based content, often presenting theories as possibilities rather than confirmed facts. This blurred the line between reporting and speculation, making it increasingly difficult for audiences to distinguish between verified information and online narrative building. Industry observers also began weighing in cautiously. Some suggested that the situation highlighted how quickly personal disputes can escalate into public controversies in the age of social media. Others pointed out that when multiple narratives begin circulating simultaneously, public perception often becomes more influential than factual accuracy. Interestingly, some commentators noted that both Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams have experienced public attention before, but this particular situation felt different because of the speed at which information and misinformation was spreading. Within a short time, the incident moved from niche entertainment discussions to mainstream curiosity. As debates intensified, one thing became clear: the audience was no longer just reacting to events, but actively trying to interpret and reconstruct them. Every new post, comment, or alleged leak added another layer of uncertainty, further deepening the divide between belief and skepticism. And just as the conversation began to reach peak intensity, a new wave of claims started emerging online, suggesting that the story might not be as recent as it appears, but rather connected to unresolved tensions from earlier events that had never fully come to light. Just when the situation involving Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams seemed to settle into the usual cycle of online debate, a new development completely shifted the direction of the entire narrative once again. Late in the day, unverified reports began circulating claiming that the recent wave of controversy was not actually an isolated incident, but part of a much longer chain of events that had been unfolding quietly behind the scenes. According to these claims, what the public saw was only a small segment of a much larger timeline that has never been fully disclosed. The most shocking part of these emerging allegations is the suggestion that certain interactions may have been influenced or interpreted differently depending on who is documenting them. This raised immediate questions about whether the public version of events reflects the complete reality or just selected fragments of it. Adding to the confusion, new online discussions began pointing toward inconsistencies in the order of events being shared across different platforms. Some users noticed that timelines being posted did not match, while others argued that certain details appeared to be missing entirely. This discrepancy has now become the center of renewed speculation. At the same time, rumors resurfaced suggesting that tensions between the individuals involved may have been building long before the recent incident. If true, this would mean the confrontation was not a sudden escalation, but rather the outcome of unresolved issues that had reached a breaking point over time. However, the most unexpected twist came when a final wave of alleged information began circulating, suggesting that the situation might not have ended at all. According to these claims, there are still undisclosed elements connected to the incident that have not yet been made public, and these remaining details could significantly alter how the entire story is understood. This possibility has left audiences questioning everything they thought they knew so far. Was the confrontation truly the main event? Or was it just one part of a much larger sequence that is still unfolding? As speculation continues to grow, one thing is clear: the story has not reached its conclusion. In fact, it appears to be moving into a new phase entirely, one where previous assumptions may no longer apply. And now, with multiple versions of the truth circulating online and no official confirmation to clarify the situation, the biggest question remains unanswered. What happens next, and what has not been revealed yet? Because according to the latest whispers online, the final piece of this story may still be waiting to drop. At this point, the situation surrounding Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams has become more than just a trending topic online. It has turned into a developing story that continues to raise questions with every new update. But now the real question is, what do you think is actually happening here? Because on one side, there are claims suggesting a serious escalation that may have led to legal consequences and possibly even another arrest. On the other side, there are voices saying the entire situation is being exaggerated, misunderstood, or pushed out of context by social media narratives. And somewhere in between all of this confusion lies the truth, a truth that still has not been clearly confirmed by any official source. So we want to hear from you. Do you believe this situation involving Todd Tucker and Porsha Williams is being accurately represented online? Or do you think the public is only seeing fragments of a much larger story that is still unfolding behind the scenes? And what about the people connected to them? Do you think outside influences and past tensions are playing a bigger role in this situation than anyone is openly admitting? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because every opinion adds to the bigger picture of how the story is being understood by the public. Also, if you've been following this story from the beginning, make sure you stay connected to the channel, because updates like this are evolving quickly, and new details are expected to surface at any moment. If there is any truth to the latest claims circulating online, then this may not be the end of the situation. It could actually be the beginning of an even bigger development. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next update. Because whatever happens next in this story, it could completely change everything once again.